How do you eat healthy when there's nothing but junk food around you? Today on the exam room, we're going to find out. And welcome to the Exam Room Podcast, brought to you by the Physicians Committee. Hi, I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll. Thank you so very much for watching and downloading in more than 150 countries around the world and making the Exam Room one of the most consumed nutrition podcasts anywhere on the planet today. And one of the questions we get asked most is, what in the world can I possibly do to eat a healthy diet when I'm surrounded by nothing but junk food? McDonald's for miles, Burger King over here, Taco Bell over there, and then the cabinets at the house with the people that you're living with, nothing but grab and go junk food. So how in the world do you keep it healthy? Well, we have just the expert to get us on that healthy track today. She happens to live in one of the least healthy states in the entire United States, and she is thriving on a plant-based diet. She also has a wonderful wellness weekend coming up too. With that, we welcome certified Food for Life instructor and dear friend of the program, Brenda Workman, back to the show. Thanks for being here, Brenda.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this is something that I am absolutely just marveled by, the fact that you're able to do everything that you're doing in terms of not just taking control of your own health, but educating others in West Virginia, which really struggles mightily with their health problems there. How are you able to accomplish this?
I think it all starts, Chuck, with really your mindset. And I know that people use that a lot, but let me explain just a little bit. You know, my doctor over 5 years ago suggested that I eat a plant-based diet. I'm very grateful for that, because there's not many doctors in my area that even know about the data and how a plant-based diet helps with our health. And so I'm so grateful. But I had a learning curve. And, you know, prior to eating a plant-based diet, I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I was very overweight. And so I had a learning curve. And so I had to begin with the mindset. And I think what made the difference for me was that this time, I say this time because I was a yo-yo dieter my entire adult life. This time it was about my health. It was not about just weight loss. And I think that made all the difference in the world. So the mindset was the thing that got me started and kept me going.
Was, for you, did you have, when you were still yo-yo dieting, the conception in your mind that if you could just get your weight down, all the other health challenges would magically kind of take care of themselves?
Yeah, I did. But yeah, it was just all about weight all the time. And I kept about 4 sizes of clothes in my closet because I never knew when I was going to be on my diet or off my diet. I always use excuses like birthdays and holidays and travel and vacation to go off my diet. So it was just a constant yo-yo. And I thought, okay, this time I'm serious. This time I'm doing it. And I would go on my diet and I'd be on it for about maybe 4 to 8 weeks. And then something would throw me off and then I would gain the weight back. And it was just a constant thing. And as a result of that, I ended up with more weight than ever. And I ended up again with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I was on statins for 25 years. And then when I started eating plant-based, eventually I got off the blood pressure meds, off the cholesterol meds, and I lost 60 pounds. So yeah, I finally got finished with that yo-yo dieting portion of my life. And I'm so grateful. The answer was the food, the type of food that I was eating. And I do think mindset had everything to do with it.
Yep, I love it. And congratulations on being able to cut the string once and for all. We were going to talk today about kind of burying the lead here, Brenda. I'm sorry to do this. I buried the absolute lead. Like, we're not just going to give you some tips here. We're going to give you like 5 big tips to be successful with your diet when you're surrounded by nothing but unhealthy food. So mindset, I'm assuming, would have been tip number 1. Is that right?
Yeah. And let me tell a quick story, because I think this helps a lot. So about 3 weeks into eating plant-based, after my doctor had suggested it, and I jumped in with both feet, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I want my quality of life to be good moving forward as I age. I don't want it to go bad like so many people when they age, it's like, oh, I'm just going to be sick anyway. What difference does it make? So I was about 3 weeks in, doing really well, and I was on my way home from work. I'd had a bad day. And like so many other times in my life when I had bad days, I was thinking, I'm going to stop at Dairy Queen on the way home, because that's what I always did. Some people stop at the bar when they have a bad day. I always stopped at Dairy Queen, and I always ordered the largest whatever there, high fat, high sugar. I just wanted to drown my sorrows. And so on the way home, I started talking to myself out loud. Call me crazy if you want to. And I said to myself, Brenda, this is not about weight loss anymore. This is now about your health. You have high blood pressure. You have high cholesterol. This could very easily lead to heart disease. Is this what you want? You need to think long and hard about this. It's not about weight loss anymore. So I drive past Dairy Queen. I get home. And what I experienced first was almost the sadness that I didn't get my way. I didn't get to do that thing that I wanted. It was almost like somebody who was addicted, which it was an addiction. But I also suddenly got this resolve that I've had my share of Dairy Queen, and I've had my share of high fat, high sugar foods, and I see where it led, and I don't want that anymore. And so I feel like that day, my mindset changed, and it changed to, this is a lifestyle for me. This is my identity. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do, because my health is important. So if I go to stay in a hotel, I have to remind myself food is my medicine. When I go on vacation, which I did last week with 20 family members who are not plant-based, and the whole kitchen was full of junky food, I remind myself it's about my health. And I want to be with these people as long as I can. So I want to take good care of my body. So I'm constantly just regrouping and reminding myself, why am I doing this? I'm doing it for my health. And so I feel like the mindset is number one in being successful on a plant-based diet. Why are you doing it? It needs to be really, really important to you.
And I love the fact that even though you've been eating this way and living this lifestyle and educating other people about it for so long, you're still open about the fact that here we are present day, and you still give yourself these reminders, these pep talks, reminding yourself of that why. And that's so important. And I love the fact that you're open and you're honest about that. You are just like me and everybody else. You are a mere mortal. And so you keep talking to yourself to keep psyching yourself back up and understand why you're doing this. And yeah, maybe it does get easier over time, but the reminder never hurts. And if you're like me, every time I pass a Taco Bell to this day and I keep on driving, I still give myself a little pat on the back. Maybe it's the same for you when you pass the DQ and don't stop.
Yes, it is. It is. And I've actually, you're not going to believe this, but I've actually, we live not too far from Dairy Queen. And so a couple summers ago, some of the grandkids and some of my adult kids wanted to go down there. And I can't even remember what it was. I took something with me. I can't remember, like a fruit salad or something. And we sat outside and they ate ice cream and I ate fruit salad. That was a couple years ago. But I don't know. I've been there, done that. You know, I'm at an age where I saw where it led. So am I going to repeat the same things and get poor health again and go on meds again? I don't think so. My plan is to keep going the direction I'm going, which is for better health. That's what I'm after.
Good for you with the fruit salad. A+ play. A+. That's all-star stuff right there. All right, so we've talked mindset. What else is in your coffer of tips here? What's number 2?
I had to educate myself, Chuck, because it was a learning curve for me. I grew up in West Virginia. We might eat some garden vegetables, but you better believe we throw fat in everything that we cook. And this plant-based thing, it was nothing, and nobody around me was plant-based. The restaurants don't have a vegan section on their menu. It was a learning curve. So I listened to the Exam Room podcast. I listened to on YouTube a lot of the doctors that were giving lectures, T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. Neil Barnard, just the greats. I listened to them give lectures. I just soaked it all in. I ordered books. I read them, the China Study, so many things. I got magazines. Like Forks Over Knives. I watched documentaries, anything that I could do to educate myself, because this was all new to me. I didn't know anybody else that was doing this personally. And so I had to educate myself. So I feel like that's step number 2.
Oh, I love that. You really went like full bore on that in terms of just educating. You did a deep dive, and a lot of those resources that you pointed out, especially, on YouTube and things like that, those are free resources that are available for everybody. And those are great stepping off points. You don't need to go for the cookbook straight away. Get the education straight away. And I can't tell you how many lectures. And I mean, we've done close to 700 episodes of the Exam Room. Thanks for including that. There's just so much free content out there that can really help somebody get going. I think that they could almost be overwhelmed, if they wanted to binge it all at one time.
I watched hours, but it was so interesting. And one of the things I really love was success stories. Anytime I could grab a success story where somebody had gone plant, especially maybe somebody about my age, and usually it was women, I would just read their story. Sometimes I would print it off and reread it, and just success stories were a great encouragement to me. So, you have to make up your mind that you're going to do everything you can to make it work. And this was just one of those things that I needed to do. I need to find out all the information that I could.
There you go. Soak it up. We've got mindset. We've got educate. What is number 3?
Support. I feel like you do need support. And, my husband and I are the only ones at home now. He eats some plant-based, but not 100%. And so, but he knows that it's important to me, and he's been very, very respectful of that. We go out to eat and he'll say, where do you want to go? What would be a good place for you? Sometimes the waitress will bring something. Maybe I'll ask for no cheese on something, and she'll bring it. It'll have cheese, and he'll be like, no, she didn't order cheese. She asked you to leave the cheese off. He's always looking out for me, but he supports me. My grown children support me. I go to visit them, and they say, Mom, what can we have in the house for you when you come? You got to ask for support. And there may be some jokes. They may joke about it, and that's okay. They're not trying to be mean. But yeah, I think you got to get support from people around you. This is who I am. This is what I do. And so that's important.
Yeah, I think that is huge. I love the fact that your husband takes it upon himself to send the food back, for you. Like, it won't even reach the table. He sees it's got cheese. Nope, keep on moving. Send it back. We said no cheese. My wife will not eat. Like, that's really good. And the fact that your grown children also do the same for you when you go over to their house. What can we have for you? That's cool. And that actually kind of goes back to that second tip that you were talking about, educate. They're asking what and why, and, that kind of stuff. I think that's awesome. That's a good teaching point. They may not understand it, but it's pretty cool that they're learning all of the cool things there. If somebody, Brenda, does, though, live in a house where it's more jokes than support, more ribs, more teasing than the support that they're looking for, what advice can you offer then?
I think you have to be consistent. If they've seen you in the past and you were on a diet and you were very serious, and then you were not on your diet and you were eating everything in the house, and then you were back on a diet, and then so I think just being consistent and making them realize, hey, really, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. I think over time they see your success. They're proud of you for your success. They're proud of you for your consistency. Not too long ago, my little granddaughter was in a play, and after the play was over one evening, she said, oh, they call me Grandmama. She said, you have to meet this lady. She's in the play with us, and she's a vegan. And she went and got the lady and introduced me to her. And she said, you guys need to talk. And so your family begins to realize, hey, that's who they are. So my advice would be just continue to be consistent with what you're doing. And eventually they'll see that you're serious, and they'll start supporting you. In the vacation that I just had, My grown kids, they took turns making dinner each night, and they included food for me. They had things there that I could have. So they joke with me every now and then, but they are so supportive. And I don't take that for granted.
Oh no, it's one thing to be jokey and supportive at the same time. It's another thing to be, just
Uh,
mean and teasing and things like that. I love that about your granddaughter though. How old is she?
she is 13.
She's 13 and like you have to talk. This person's a vegan too. That's super cool. Super cool. All right. So we've got support, education, mindset. What is number 4?
I think that one of the things that helps me the most and always has is doing a little bit of batch cooking. It doesn't have to be all in one day, but when you walk in the kitchen and you're really, really hungry, you could make some bad choices, especially if someone lives in the house who has food there that's not, plant-based. So I think things like maybe fixing a couple of grains and having them maybe quinoa or brown rice in the refrigerator ahead of time, maybe doing some overnight oats and having them in the refrigerator, roasting some veggies and having that handy. I do a lot of big fruit salads, and my husband even enjoys that with a bunch of different fruits in it, and keep a big bowl of that in the fridge, maybe a green salad. But if you have those things in your refrigerator and you walk in the kitchen and you don't know what you're going to eat, you've got some choices there, and that makes life a whole lot easier than trying to come up with a recipe all of a sudden.
So if you're batch cooking, that I assume kind of makes you ponder what's going to go on your grocery list. You plan out your menu and you've just kind of like open your fridge, reheat and eat. You try to streamline things like that, right?
Yeah, and that actually leads me to step number 5, and that is to try to keep things in your kitchen. And I know I live in a really old house that's big, and so I have a big pantry. But if you begin to morph your kitchen into being very plant friendly, you're going to find that typically I don't have to go to the grocery store and get grains. I keep my things in glass jars because I'm a canner. So I have great big glass jars and different size jars, but I already have a bunch of grains in my pantry. I already have a bunch of dry beans in there. I have nuts and seeds, and I have stocked my kitchen very well. So if I'm going to do a particular recipe, I may have to go get some fresh veggies for that recipe. But I've got frozen things, I've got things in the pantry. So I think keeping your kitchen well stocked with plants will make your life so much easier.
What are the go-to grains that you have in there? Are you a quinoa and rice person? What are the must-haves in your pantry?
Those are two that I keep all the time. I just cooked a couple days ago farro, and I love it. I love the texture of that. I also love oat groats for breakfast in the morning. And so I have that in my pantry as well. I could probably feed an army for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months with all the food that I have in my pantry. But the cool thing about dry beans and grains is they last for a long time. But yeah, and I have pasta, whole wheat pasta. I have so much in my pantry, but I can walk in and think to myself, I am so hungry. I've got to get something, and something will come to mind, and I'll put it together, and I'm satisfied.
Good deals. Now, when you were first eating this way, and your husband to this day, not exclusively plant-based, I would imagine there were some times when you would walk by and get a craving for some of the things that might be in the pantry that weren't necessarily on your present day menu. How did you deal with those cravings? Because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with as well.
Yeah, I go back to the mindset. I began to understand that food was my medicine. And again, I'm old enough to know what caused my health issues, and I don't want to go back there again. So I typically don't spend a lot of time looking at food that's not the food that I eat. And I'm going to say something. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I don't see it as my food. It's almost as if this is at this point. Now, at the beginning, it may have been a little different, but at this point, I see it as something like that's like dog food, or that's like somebody else's food. That's not my food. So I categorize things. It's almost like, oh, yeah, look, this is my food. I could have this, but that's not my food. And so I try not to spend a lot of time like looking at the other food. When we were in the beach house last week, gosh, there was all kinds of junk all over the bar there in the kitchen, just covered in candies and chips and all kinds of stuff. But I didn't see it as my food. I brought a couple of special things for me to snack on, and that was my food. I tried to plan well and bring a box of food so that I would have what I needed. And so I don't see it as my food. And I hate to call other people's food dog food, but I use that example.
Whatever works for you mentally, I think is great. And so nobody's going to be inclined to eat, Fido's food. So good on you, Frito-Lay, just like kibble. I don't know. But well, yeah, that's good.
I know where it led. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, I know I've had my share. Chuck, I have eaten my share of junk and your share of junk in my lifetime. And I know where it led. Yeah. And so I like to eat food now that provides nourishment for my body and makes me feel good.
All right. What makes me feel good is something coming up the weekend of September 26th and 27th. That is the Wellness Weekend that you are hosting in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about educate. I can't think of two better days to really raise your health IQ than spending them in the beautiful mountains of West Virginia with you.
Yeah, I'm looking so forward to this. It's at a place called Canaan Valley Resort, a beautiful resort in the mountains of West Virginia. And this is the fall of the year, so you're going to see colored leaves and just so much beauty there. But yeah, we have a lot of things planned for that weekend. This is my 4th annual Wellness Weekend, West Virginia. And one of the celebrities that will be there will be you, Chuck. And that's what's going to make it super special. This is your 2nd time there. I'm so glad you're coming back. And then from Plant Wise, Ali Iseg will be there. And you know her story. You've interviewed her before. Her husband had a stroke at 37. They went plant-based. She has 6 children. How does she make that work? I can't wait to hear from her. And then I have a lady coming back from last year, Amy Jaspers. Amy is a pharmacist, but right now she's a practicing diabetic educator. And she's going to be presenting on pharmacy to food. That's her presentation. I want to tell people what you're going to speak on because I am so excited about this. A lot of us, Chuck, are very jealous of you because you get to rub shoulders with some of the plant-based greats.
My gosh. Like yourself. Come on.
Oh,
like
gosh.
Yourself.
I would love to have talked to the people that you've talked to. So I've asked you to speak on who have you met on the exam room and what have you learned? And so I can't wait to see your presentation and all the people that you've talked to. I mean, you don't have to show all of them because it would take days to do that. But yeah, that's what I want you to present on. Just tell us who you've met and what you've learned from all those people about plant-based eating. And we'll have some exercise opportunities there. There actually is 2 tickets. There's a VIP ticket where people can come earlier in the day at 1:00. And they'll get some special privileges. They'll get to be with the speakers. They'll get to have a sit down dinner, some workshops available just for the VIP folks. And then general admission is on Friday evening at 6. So other folks who can't come to the VIP that can certainly come at 6. It'll go through Saturday. Really good plant-based food will be provided by Canaan Valley Resort. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome weekend. I think people will leave feeling very educated and very encouraged that, yes, they can do this. And yes, they want to take care of their health as well.
Absolutely. I remember last year, I just had so much fun hanging out with everybody and seeing the cooking competitions and enjoying the food. But I honestly think, Brenda, my favorite part was just being outside during lunch with all of the people who had come. And we're just sitting out there chatting after we'd finished eating. And then a deer walked right up to the picnic table and took off, took somebody's plate right off of the table and began eating the leftovers right there. Didn't apologize, didn't ask for permission either. Just like went to town. I thought that was the coolest thing that I had ever seen in my entire life. It was a riot.
Yeah, he liked plant-based food too. I'm
Oh,
assuming
yeah.
because he just walked up there and started eating it. Yeah. In fact, on Saturday night, Chuck, after the conference is over with, we're going to sit out. There's several fire pits outside, and we did that last year. I think we sat there for 2 or 3 hours just burning wood and talking around the fire pit. So we're going to do that again this year. So it's such a relaxing atmosphere. It really is. But I just feel like people will be very encouraged by being there and the networking and just talking with other people. There's some other Food for Life instructors that will be there as well.
That's awesome. And that goes back to what you were talking about earlier as well, talking about support and making friends. If you're kind of going at this alone right now, maybe you don't have that big circle of plant-based friends and you feel like maybe you need some people in your community. This is a great place to meet people. This is a great place to make friends. I made some last year and I can't wait to make some more this year. And in the meantime, in between time, we have put a link for you to register to get your tickets to the Wellness Weekend right now down below. That's in the show description and in the episode notes. So don't miss your chance to hang out. That is coming up in September in the mountains of West Virginia, September 26th and 27th. You can also hop on BrendaWorkmanSpeaks.com and just click on events and then Wellness Weekend. Boom, you can get your ticket right then and there. But you are the master of all things. You're not just doing the Wellness Weekend. You're not just doing this interview. You're not just doing the interviews on local TV out there. You also have your own YouTube channel that you're building up and really working hard on. I believe that's Brenda Workman Cooks Plants. Is that?
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Brenda Workman Cooks Plants. Yeah. What I'm trying to do with this, I include some recipes, but you can find a lot of recipes online and on YouTube. What I'm trying to do, Chuck, is I am trying to explain to people the practical tips for being a plant-based eater. So how do I practically make this happen? How do I stay in a hotel? What do I do? What do I do when I go on a vacation with 20 family members and none of them are plant-based? What do I keep in my pantry that makes it easier? What's in my refrigerator? All the practical things. That's what I'm trying to do, is trying to explain to people. I'm a West Virginia girl who grew up on biscuits and gravy and meat at every meal. And if I have made this switch, they can make the switch too for better health. And so on the YouTube channel, I'm just trying to give them practical tips on how to make that happen.
Awesome. And we've dropped a link to that down below in the show description as well. You are a very busy woman, Brenda Workman, no doubt about it.
I got a lot of energy now, Chuck, because I've been eating those plants,
I can't keep up with you, man. There's just no way. Looking forward to seeing you in September. This is just going to be a phenomenal wellness weekend. So thank you so very much for putting it on in a place that really needs that help. So thank you for being a health champion, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to share it with your viewers. I hope some of them, we have people from different states that are coming. So you don't have to be from West Virginia to come. I'd love for people from all over to come. So thank you for letting me mention it.
All are welcome. And again, that link is right down below. Brenda Workman, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. It was nice being with you today.